Over at least.
It's over. This is the WFNY BrownsCast for the season finale for the Browns. 28-14 loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers. BrownsCast is part of the Evergreen Podcast Network, and we're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. For first-time depositors, enter in the code WFNY at checkout, and Underdog will match your deposit up to $100. Underdog is a great platform if you're tired of the DFS system. Salary system. There are a ton of game types, drafts every night, and for every sport. Don't forget to use WFNY at your first deposit matched up to $100. That is Underdog Fantasy. Well, it's over, Taylor. Well, I am Joe Gilbert, just so everybody knows, and this is Taylor Jedrzejek. And Brown season is over. Ended, I would say, in a fitting way. Would you say that?
Yep.
Pretty fitting way for this season.
It ended like most Brown seasons have, it feels like, in the last
20
years.
It did.
A weird game in Pittsburgh where not only did one of the teams, I mean, actually, neither team felt like they were really phoning it in.
Right.
The officiating field, like they felt like they were officiating from Aruba, but I hope that Godspeed to whatever game gets that crew next week.
I know. And they're considered one of the better ones.
Yeah, that was not
awful.
to make this about officiating, because it's not like the officials threw 2 picks, but like,
that was awful.
Who boy.
The face mask one is just like, I don't know how that's missed. Like, that's like, I guess there's a lot that, like, it's so fast, but that one was like he yanked it and his head went down and yanked it. Like, it's astounding how that missed, but they didn't lose because of that. They lost because
they had no defense left at the end. They lost another linebacker at halftime. They lost Denzel Ward.
Yep. Yeah.
So like,
and then the offensive line just played absolutely dog crap.
Yeah, if there was anyone that checked out, it was the offensive line.
Yeah, that was
rough.
I saw a stat. I think it was Next Gen. At one point, he ran like 600. Deshaun Watson had run like 660 yards in the game. It was like the third or fourth quarter, like midway or something, and it was just it just kind of summed up the season. The offensive line just absolutely fell apart as the season went on. Injuries obviously did a lot, but there was just bad play too. Wyatt Teller did not play like
no, and hopefully we can kind of pin that on an injury down the road. But
right,
he never seemed right after he came back from his calf being hurt.
Right. It was literally just Joel Bitonio out there.
James Hudson kind of proved why he. Like, like anyone who thought before the season that, or before today or before last week that, hey, what if we just dump Jedrzejek Wills and put James Hudson over? I think we answered that question today.
No,
he is still not that good of a tackle.
Yeah, and Jed didn't play well today, so
no, and he didn't. So he didn't help his cause. And then he got hurt, which also doesn't help his cause. But like. There's no one in the waiting in the wings that's going to miraculously be better than him at this point.
And they're not going to draft one. They're not going to draft one high. They can't wait. They can't waste that capital, quite frankly. They spent so much on the offensive line.
Their first draft pick. Their first draft pick. I mean, it could be spent on an offensive lineman. It's more likely to be a guard, given that Bitonio is getting up there. But. Like, if their first draft pick is spent outside the interior of either line, there better be a damn good reason or a damn good player that's fallen to you. It'll be somewhere like 41 or 42.
Yeah. There's not much to say, man. It's just kind of.
Like all of these games, like. The last few weeks, even last week where they won, and the Commanders are proven, at least when I stepped away from the TV, they were proven that win to be worth something. I don't know what the score is now, but
13-0.
yeah, I like that was at least like a solid team. They kind of ran up and down the field last week.
Right.
Granted, Carson Wentz is bad, but a lot of the little things that have gone wrong in the last few weeks have been the same little things that have gone wrong in every game they've lost this year. The latter half of the season, a lot of the things that went wrong, especially defensively, were the inability to stop the run. Some of that is scheme. Some of that is the fact that you're down to playing random dudes from the Muni lot at linebacker. I mean, they weren't a very deep defense, but good Lord, did they get gouged in the middle.
Yeah.
By injury and by opposing running backs.
Yeah. That was Before so we'll talk about Wills. As you can see, our nice listener here, Joe. If Wills doesn't perform next year, that's a problem. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that, because then you don't know what the heck you do. Like,
I think that don't they have to make the decision on him in terms of fifth-year option this offseason?
I think that's the easy one. I would assume
I mean, I don't think you're going to send him off to pasture after next year.
Yeah.
But like he's the fact that he's skirting that line is not where you wanted to be with him.
Yeah. The big thing will be the extension or no extension, or you move on.
I don't think an extension is coming at this point.
No, it's not this offseason.
One, it's not like the Browns are itching to spend money on half mediocre guys.
Right.
They have enough money absorbed into their really good players.
Yeah.
It's I forget what game it was that we talked about this. I think it was after the Ravens game that there's no greener grasses, greener moment with Wills right now. There's no, like, you don't have the money to go out and buy the best left tackle that you can.
Yeah.
Moving Conklin over to left tackle isn't going to fix anything. Clearly, moving James Hudson to left tackle isn't going to fix anything.
Yeah.
So, and you don't have the draft capital to go get one. And even if you did, you'd probably be better served spending that draft capital on a mid-teens defensive tackle. But so moving on from Jedrzejek Wills, well, that's going to be a buzzword for the next couple weeks from everyone out there that subscribes to the what I have seen more and more as a Browns beat on the whole that seems to be searching for drama more than coverage.
Oh my God! Yeah, I was listening to Daryl Ryder going to the party I was at, and oh my God, just he was blaming the Jadeveon Clowney thing on Stefanski. I was like, what are we doing?
No, he's literally done this to everywhere else that he's been.
He's done this before. It's the track record.
And he, not only that, like, there's people that thought he quit on Steve Spurrier. Like, like, this has been a track record back to his time at South Carolina.
Like, listen to Myles
barely
Garrett.
Played his junior year.
Like, listen to Myles Garrett. Like, Myles was like, what the hell was that, dude?
If those guys had sold on Stefanski, they wouldn't have played today.
Correct.
And they played today. They just don't have enough bodies left on the defense to stop any offense, especially one that has a good running back.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. So that was the offensive line. Watson.
He showed flashes again, but he also showed rust again. Like, I think today was a net neutral on him in general. He made, like, his plays down in the red zone were nice.
Yeah.
He got his face ripped off, but bounced back.
And like a lot of it too was like he was running around, like, especially in that third and fourth quarter when they knew they weren't going to run. Like, it was awful. Like, the protection was just awful. They were breaking down every single time.
The first pick was 100% on him. That was a weird throw. Yeah. It was a weird decision to throw the ball where he did, and it was also a weird.
Yeah, he overthrew it.
It was like a bad throw.
A pack of three people. Yeah.
The second one,
Second one was bad. I think the receiver. You got to fight for that, man. You got to.
Yeah.
You got to.
I don't know. Was that Bell or was that Woods?
I believe it was Bell.
I don't remember. Yeah, like either way, that was not a good rep from the receiver. I think that was
a timing.
That was a pick that was a pick that a quarterback throws that the quarterback has an accelerated clock because his line is not blocking for him.
True, yeah, because it was a slant and he just wanted to get the heck out of there.
Yeah, he just wanted to get that ball out of there, and he threw it, and the corner sat on it, or the safety sat on it.
It was disappointing. It was disappointing that we didn't see the next step up, but it was just it wasn't like it wasn't all on him. Like it was still.
No, I mean that's not an offense you can give up 28 points to.
Right.
I think in a world where you can keep the offense more balanced, Chubb was running the ball well.
Yeah.
And before we, speaking of things that were bad today, everything to do with the broadcast.
Yeah. Luckily, I didn't listen to a lot of it. I
guess there's not a whole lot to bounce off you there, but like.
Yeah.
The color guy who I think was Adam. Was it Adam Archuleta?
Yeah.
Was consistently saying things that weren't happening. Greg Gumbel or whatever Gumbel is on there. I think it's Greg. Sounded like he did the game on morphine.
Yeah. The special teams announcers, like him and what's the kicker guy? I forget.
Feely.
Yeah, Feely.
He did the Saints game.
They're god awful.
Yeah.
It's just so bad. But yeah, so Deshaun was sort of it wasn't like a step up. It wasn't as you said, it was a neutral.
Yeah, like there were moments that looked good. Like he made nice throws at times. Both of the touchdown plays are really nice throws.
His ability just to get out of pressure was impressive.
Yeah, and this is the second week in a row we've said this. If Jacoby Brissett was back there, the Steelers may have had 9 sacks today.
They had 7 already.
Yeah, they may have had 12. Like that's how bad it was.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see the grades on the offensive line. I don't.
They're not going to be good.
No, I don't think anyone graded out well.
And again,
hard to watch.
Isn't the only. There's been talks of some potential change on the offensive staff. I don't think it should come in the form of letting Bill Callahan walk.
No.
Obviously that's kind of where your bread and butter has been. So we can't praise him like we have for 2.5 years. Right. And then as soon as Yelda Froholt has to play center, think he's the worst coach imaginable.
Right.
Yeah,
it was just bad.
Today was just a culmination of a season that, like you were close, but not close enough.
Yep. Yeah, that was. It's just kind of a fitting end, as we said. It's just a fitting end to it.
Yeah.
So that's the offense. The defense was bad. They gave up 28 points to freaking Kenny Pickett.
And
bad.
naturally in a season that was defined by them for the first 2 months, they blew a coverage today.
Oh my God, that was just they brought 4 on that rush, and they dropped everybody back, and somehow there's just a wide open, like it was. And once again, you see John Johnson be the guy at a point.
Yeah,
I'm about done. He's done. Hopefully, he's out of here.
Yeah,
he's done nothing to aid that defense.
And if he's not going to help, there's money. His money could be better spent elsewhere.
Exactly,
I mean, they have plenty of holes. It's not like
exactly. The tackling was absolutely poor. It was like everything that we saw this year was just piled into this one game. We saw poor tackling, bad communication, broken coverages. Pass rush was pretty much just Myles Garrett and hope he can get to the quarterback.
Yeah, Winovich had some nice rush pressures, but never got there.
Yeah, that was about
your
it.
objective is to not get juked out by Kenny Pickett, and he did, I think, twice.
The interior got gashed again.
The linebackers, I'm not even sure who was left to play linebacker except for Tony Fields at the end of the game.
Yeah, I saw Tony Fields. That was about it. And then Ragland was out there.
He got hurt before halftime and didn't play the second half.
Yeah.
So I don't know who was out there to play linebacker.
Right, I don't know. Yeah.
We don't even have any. There's no fullbacks on the roster. I wouldn't have been surprised if friggin' Harrison Bryant was out there playing linebacker at one point. That wouldn't have shocked me.
Yeah. It's just it was kind of a fitting end for Joe Woods too. He's gone. There's no question. I think all the reports out there that he's gone. So that's something to watch during the next week here. It's going to be interesting to see how much is actually gone on defense, both in terms of personnel and in terms of coaches. Coaches might be there might not be many left. They might have to cut bait on most of them because you just think of it none of the units played above their expectations. They all played below it. It was just a bad fitting end to that defense, and we'll see a lot of changes there. We'll see a lot of new faces on defense. John Johnson will probably be gone. Who knows who's going to be at linebacker? And then the interior should be different. You're definitely going to have another edge, at least one or two. So it's going to be another remake of this defense, I think.
I mean, there's pieces there, but it's up to the new coordinator to decide what those pieces are.
Yep. Yeah, it's it was a rough game to watch. It was just luckily I was at a party and I didn't have to fully put my energy on it. But
no, and I had to sit there and watch, and
it was just a fitting end.
At least the Dolphins won, I guess.
Yeah, that was good. God, I was looking at the top of the score. They had the scores up during the game. I'm like, if Pittsburgh gets in, I am going to scream. That would just be
I mean, they would get absolutely just shit canned by the Bills next week.
They would, but just getting in would be just pathetic. It would look worse on Stefanski and Barry and all that if Pittsburgh got in. I get that they're lucky that they're not in, because that would have been a bad look if that Pittsburgh team was in the playoffs. Because that team is not.
I mean, that would be more of a moratorium on the rest of the AFC than the Browns, but
but you just look at their roster, then our roster, and it's not better.
No, they have a coach that knows how to coach defense.
Yep.
I would like them to have their coaching staff remain intact because Matt Canada is still a problem. They were bailed out today.
Yeah, hopefully that's actually a good thing. Yes, they scored 28 points. Keep them.
I mean, but again, scoring 28 points on a defense that has no linebackers or defensive tackles.
Hey, don't tell them that. Matt Canada, you did a great job today.
Coach of the year.
Oh man.
Not a whole lot to say. I mean,
really? Yeah, special teams was
because there's not a whole lot to say because it's the same stuff.
Right.
It's been the same stuff since Watson got back. Aside from that blip in Houston where the defense decided to score all the points.
That was obviously that was Texans, but that was just a weird game, man. It was.
Yeah, I mean, Most complete game that the defense played all year is probably against Tampa, and they can't score. Or no, most complete game they played all year was against the Bengals the first time, but that was like 7 linebackers ago. So
yeah. Yeah. Special teams was okay, I guess.
York made his kicks.
Yeah.
Bjork has
I will say,
punts, but
I will say, Bjork has his coffin kicking is not very good.
Yeah, it was certainly some weird punts.
Yeah, he can when he tries to kick it like into the red zone, he can kick it right into the end zone. Like not even it's not even close. Like it's like 5 yards past the goal line. Like,
yeah, his first punt went like 20 yards, and then his second punt went 8 yards deep in the end zone.
Right. It's like I don't know.
Who knows? I mean, that's not important. But
no, it's not. No, it's not.
Oh,
it's just not fun, man.
Yeah,
we're back to an off season of change.
Yeah, but a lot like last season. I mean, obviously, I wasn't here for the obituary last season, but like I think we're going into another off season where you're not going to see a whole lot of roster turnover. I don't think.
At least you have the most important positions settled this year.
Yeah,
last
like
year you did not, so that is a positive.
Yeah, and you're going into next season with more or less. I mean, you can add some pieces to make it better, but like if you did nothing to the offense, if the only thing you did was replace Kareem Hunt with someone else and replace Farrell Brown? Farrell Cooper? One of those Farrows?
Farrell Brown.
Just get another tight end depth. Like there's not a whole lot you need to do the offense. You probably could get a speedy receiver.
Yeah,
but
you probably could. Yep.
But there's more pressing matters on defense.
God. Yeah.
Like most of the thing is going to be predicated around the defense. Last year it was you had to rebuild the offense, and I'd say they did a pretty good job rebuilding the offense.
Yeah,
especially at the skill positions. Like you have a receiving core that you can trust going into next year to actually produce plays. Like Donovan Peoples-Jones approached 1,000 yards, and Njoku probably. What would he probably end up? I don't know what he ended up with for sure, but he had a good season. Cooper went over 1,000 yards, I think.
Yeah, the biggest thing with the offense is going to be continuing to build it around Deshaun.
You're going to have to spend all of OTAs doing like fucking scramble drills because, good Lord, they didn't know how to do that. But
yeah. Let's see. Njoku ended with 628. If you look at the receiving, when's the last time you had 1,100, 839 yards and 628 yards?
Yeah,
that's impressive.
Their receiving core is okay. Yes, they could use a piece, but they're not in a bad space. Last off season, last year, week 18, the receiving core was in a bad place.
Yes, yeah.
You had an aging Jarvis Landry. You had just run Odell Beckham out of town. Your number one receiver was Donovan Peoples-Jones, who's not a number one, who's a good number two, but not a number one.
Yeah, I think the key was going to be this offseason is obviously build it around Deshaun, but it's got to be more explosive through the air. We really didn't see that. I saw that a little bit when Deshaun came in, but not fully yet. So I don't know if that's another receiver, play calling, just system-wise. I know there's talk of maybe expanding their offense in the more what is it called? Air raid offense, like incorporating some of that stuff. That'll be a key because they haven't had an explosive passing game in ever. Maybe the year that Braylon Edwards had that big year, that was an explosive passing game, but like they need more big plays in the passing game. They're already the top. They're already one of the number ones in running games. So like if you just add more to the passing game, it's going to be a really explosive offense. So that's going to be the big key. That's awesome. It might not be personnel. It's just going to be like kind of system and scheme changes to get this offense to expand more. And then defensively, it's a whole new front seven pretty much. Like they besides Myles Garrett and probably JOK, Alex Wright. I don't know if he's can be a starter. It's gonna be interesting to see how they handle that front seven. It needs a lot of work. They continue to kind of like band-aid it pretty much. Like Jadeveon Clowney's been a band-aid. And it's kind of run its course now. So it's they need to find get Myles Garrett some help, please.
Yeah.
Anybody. And that could be also from the defense coordinator, whoever they sign. Blitzing would be helpful. Anything that can like produce like manufacture pressure would be a good idea. Moving Myles Garrett around, blitzing him up the middle, which we saw last game and then never saw it again. It's not that far away. Like the back end is good. We got Delpit.
How soon can they interview Brian Flores?
Right. Yeah, that's a good. He would be a good one. I know Jim Leonard is another name. I'm not sure about that one. I know he's liked by a lot of people, but he hasn't really had NFL coaching experience yet. So that would be an interesting addition. But yeah, Flores might be like kind of your top choice. He has the experience of being successful. He has head coaching experience, would be also helpful. Yeah. It's gonna be on the defense. It's gonna be a lot of movement and a lot of kind of changes on defense, and we'll see how much they can improve.
Yeah, getting away from the Steelers would be cool too. He's a good coach.
Yeah, so. Exactly. Yes, that would be nice. Always hurting in division rival is always an added plus to a move. Yeah, other than that, I figured because we don't really have a preview show next week, we'll probably maybe talk about when the changes happen. I'm not going to say if, it better be when.
It should be soon.
Yeah. So
probably not tonight. I don't think they're going to do anything tonight.
I don't. That's the type of move you don't like fire them on the bus or anything like that. It's the next day. Hey, come in the morning, please. Empty out your desk, please.
Yeah.
Those are final bets. My strategy of going opposite of you did not work. So you went 5-5. I went 3-7. So my final record on this season was 57-63, and you were positive at 66-54. So congratulations. You don't win anything, but you're just knowing that you were the champion. It can push you all the way there.
If only that made me feel better about this.
I know, right. Just go through the picks real quick. It was Steelers plus 14 rather than Browns plus 3, so we were both wrong on that. You were correct on the over-under. It was over 40.5. It was at 42. You were right on Deshaun at over 210 total yards. He had 274, which I believe is his best output yards-wise.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb was under 81.5 rushing yards. He had 77, so I was correct on that. Najee Harris, 74.5 rushing yards. He was over that at 84, and you were correct on there. most receiving yards, I was right on Cooper. I think you had
Peoples-Jones.
Yeah, Peoples-Jones, and then I was correct on George Pickens. I believe you had Deontay Johnson. Let's see, most sacks. This was a blowout by the Steelers, 7-1. So you were correct on that. Turnover battle. It was almost a tie, but Browns lost it. So the Steelers got 2 interceptions. So you were correct, and then we were both way off on the score prediction.
Yep.
Yeah, but other than that, it's one of those games where it's a fitting end, and there's not much to talk about because it was the same stuff you saw every week of the season. Any final thoughts?
I mean, it's gonna be a interesting few days on the tweet space.
And the radio
space. Let's go ahead and tune out the more extreme voices in the room because they just want the clicks.
Every beat reporter, it seems like.
Yeah.
And okay, before there's a lot of stuff with the beat reporter. It really leans to being, because he doesn't give a lot of stuff. Like, it really looks kind of bad on these guys. Like, they're giving these off the wall predictions because a lot of it they just don't like Stefanski because he doesn't give anything to them.
Well, the whole organization doesn't give anything, which is why the Clowney thing stuck out so much this week.
Right. That was just him just talking to the dude. That's why it was so bad. Yeah. Like, I think he was just like talking to, I think it was Mary Kay, right? Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was weird. He won't be back. I know he says maybe if the coaches changes or something. I'm like, no, you're not coming back, dude.
There's no sense in getting wrapped up unless they are just horrendously stupid. Wait, there's no sense in getting wrapped up in the, oh my God, we should fire Stefanski. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, tell me a better option that is realistic.
Right, Sean Payton ain't coming through that door. You don't have a draft pick to trade.
No, and other
than that, then you're picking from the same scrap of stuff that you have to project to hope he's a good coach. Like,
yeah. So, like, you have a known quantity. He still has the guys in the locker room. I don't think anyone if Clowney is willing to go to a reporter and just talk out of his ass,
yeah,
another player would have by now if there was really something going on that they really didn't want with Stefanski.
Well, you saw it from Miles. Like, Miles was like, I don't know what the heck that was. Like his reaction to what Clowney said was like, I wish he talked to me. Like, that. It just seemed like a one guy out kind of. It just was Jadeveon Clowney. Be Jadeveon Clowney. It's what he does.
Yeah, obviously, when you have 2 straight seasons,
it's frustrating.
Yeah, when you have 2 straight seasons that are under 500 with teams that have playoff expectations, you are frustrated. But, like, constantly shuffling through coaches like we have for 20 years has done us so much good, hasn't it?
Exactly. Right. Like, it's like these people have not seen like what has happened when we do changes. Like, it starts everything over again. Like, I don't understand. Like they think these changes will do something. Like, it puts you behind. Like, you're starting over.
Of course, there will be those out there that say, "Well, the Jaguars did it this year, and look what they did. They had the worst coach in the history of the NFL last year. Anything was an improvement. I could have been an improvement."
And they were aided by the worst division in the AFC.
Yeah,
Like they weren't in the playoffs for any other reason besides that was a shit show of a division.
Yeah, both teams, the three teams that made the playoffs in the state of Florida, all three of them did. I think they all finished 9-8.
Yeah.
Like the two of them benefited from the worst divisions to ever put themselves on an NFL field, and the other one was the Dolphins, who beat Joe Flacco in Week 18 to make the playoffs. So, should we have beat Joe Flacco? Yes, but not going to rehash that wound.
No, let's not start that Jets thing again.
There were people back when Freddie Kitchens was in his last few weeks that were wanting continuity.
Yeah.
There was like, you hired someone, why are you going to fire him after 1 year? It was pretty clear towards the end that not only was he in way over his head, that the team knew he was way in over his head.
Yes. Like you can see these differences. Like
it wasn't that long ago that we had an incompetent head coach. It was 4 years ago.
I can remember.
We saw what this looks like. It was a lot of the same guys were on this team.
Yeah.
Why are we going to go through this cycle again?
Yeah.
There's no guarantee it's going to get better.
No.
Could it? Sure. Are the chances of that higher than 50%? No.
No.
Are they higher than 35%? No.
No.
They might be 20%.
Maybe.
And are you going to put 20% on this roster?
No.
This roster isn't bad.
Yeah.
This roster is 7-10, which, doesn't look great, but they pissed away 2 games. That's 9-8. They started a backup quarterback for 11. Who knows? They had Joe Woods for 17 and they won 7 games.
That's a good one, right? Joe Woods, yes.
They had Joe Woods. Joe Woods in 2021 and 2022 was like, I'm not going to say he's the worst defensive coordinator to ever do it, because I'm sure there's been worse. But
probably the worst going right now.
They won. They were 15 and 20. They were what? 15 and oh god, I'm forgetting how to math. They were 15 and 19 in 2 seasons with Joe Woods as defensive coordinator, like not being able to coach his way out of a box.
Yeah.
This isn't a full fire sale issue. This is we need to take a step back, evaluate where we're at, fix our holes, and go into the next season with a lot of the same philosophies.
Yeah. Now next year is
next
year.
Year, you're out of excuses. You have your quarterback. You have your quarterback. You're going to have a new defensive coordinator. You're hopefully going to have a defense that isn't awful.
Yeah. Like next year, there's no excuses. Yes, I will be fully on board with moving on if they don't make the playoffs next year.
If they go 10-7 and miss the playoffs, sure.
Right. Like I will be on that train with you. But like right now, it's like it's just like he hasn't. I just keep going back to this. Like this is Stefanski's career so far. He had COVID first year. He had Baker Mayfield. I don't even know what the hell that was.
Injured Baker plus
injured Baker.
And Baker's mass regression from actual serviceable quarterback to literal worst.
Yeah, and then his third year he had Jacoby Brissett and Deshaun Watson fiasco. So like that is one of the 3 toughest freaking situations you've had to deal with. Like next year, obviously, barring anything weird, but this is the Cleveland Browns franchise, so who the heck knows? It should be a year that expectations are high, and he needs to make the playoffs. So, yeah, next year is the year he needs to do it. And
no, expectations are going to be rightfully pretty high next year. I mean, you don't know what. I mean, you have one guaranteed good team in the division,
right?
We don't know where the Ravens are going to be.
Yeah, you don't know.
Steelers, we still don't. I mean, I don't think this Steelers team is going to be any better than they currently are next year.
Yeah, they're stuck with Pickett, and I don't think it's that good.
Like the Ravens could very well still be a good team next year, but we don't know.
Yeah, it depends on if Lamar is back.
Yeah, I mean Lamar Jackson could very well be the quarterback of the Jets next year.
Yeah, there could be and then I don't know. Well, Baltimore doesn't seem like they rebuild that often, but yeah, it could.
They haven't had to. They haven't really had to rebuild since Kyle Bowler.
But, right? Yeah, they kind of because they had Joe Flacco and kind of fell into here's Lamar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the division might open up. Like it's.
And it's not like this Browns team has proven that the Bengals are unbeatable.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And the AFC, like, it's not as scary.
The AFC is good,
but there's a lot of teams scary in the middle. When we came into this season, we were like, oh man, I don't like the AFC West was supposed to be just this gauntlet. And that turned out to be the Kansas City Chiefs and everybody else again.
Yeah, the Broncos fell on their face. The Raiders fell on their face every week.
Right. The AFC South is a dumpster fire.
That's probably not going to fix itself anytime soon.
No.
AFC East is they got a lot of question marks. The Jets are going to need a quarterback. The Patriots don't know where the Patriots seem to be kind of out in the middle of the ocean without a sail at this point.
They're stuck again. Yeah, they're stuck. They're stuck like most other teams that didn't have Tom Brady for so many years. They have
God knows where Tua's going to be. Like,
right.
I mean, there's the
Bills who are
obviously Tua could play next week and be fine, but dude is one concussion from never playing football again.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy. And then really, if you really think about it, it's the Kansas City Chiefs and the Bills that are. I can probably tell you, barring someone getting hurt or just quitting or something, I'll know next year the Bills and Kansas City will be good. And I'll say the Bengals.
Those teams will be really good. The Bengals, man, their Warriors injury luck is going to run out at some point. But
they have Joe Burrow, who also is a guy that can carry a team. So I'll put them up there. But other than that,
it's open.
It's open.
Obviously, the Chargers are fine. The Chargers will be fine. They're solid. They're weird, but they're solid.
Yeah, they're a weird team. You can't really put them up on the top because they're the Chargers.
The Dolphins are weird, but they're solid.
Yeah.
The Jaguars should be better next year. I don't know where the Titans are going to be.
I think they're kind of restarting. I would assume.
The Colts are gonna plummet into the abyss.
Yeah, whoever wants to coach that team, if they bring back what's his name? Oh, Saturday.
If they bring back Jeff Saturday, you might as well just relegate the team to the Big Ten.
And then the Texans are the Texans. It's
the Texans are a couple years away because they're where the Browns were in 2017.
Yeah.
They could have some competitive weeks next year, but
everything is in front of them. So they just got to get this defense fixed, get the coaching staff fixed on that side of the ball, and just build around your franchise quarterback.
You have a quarterback.
Right. You don't have to solve the number one problem anymore.
He didn't have his last 6 games were not so bad to declare the whole trade a failure. That would actually be dumb. Anyone out there who says this trade was a failure, you might as well just discount anything else they can say about the team.
Right. You saw the special stuff that if he does it for consistent game to game, this is gonna be good. His scrambling was elite today. He made elite plays, avoiding sacks that could have been even worse. He made some great throws. It just obviously going to be the consistency of putting it all together from the start. And I think those preseason games, they better not sit him. He needs to play those preseason games. They need to get into
at least a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's one thing I will kind of talk about Stefanski a bit is he needs to rework his preseason kind of stuff. It doesn't seem like they're always 100% ready.
Well, that's any team now. 3 preseason games.
True. It's definitely true. But I think it's just something he needs to kind of maneuver and kind of fix. And especially with Deshaun, this is going to be his first full season from the start. I would play him at least as much as you can. Obviously, you're not playing him a lot, but like you need to get this offense kind of going right away, especially the defense too. Like if they start off like crap like every other year that we've seen, like that's not what you need. So I'm excited for next year. I know it was an awful season this year, but I have a lot of hope for next year. I really do. I know this is waiting for next year, but I really am excited to see what they do this offseason with the defense and then what they kind of do with the offense around Deshaun. It's going to be exciting to see. So I'm excited for next year. Any other final thoughts before we get out of here? We'll see what happens next week.
Yeah, well, you and I will probably be back at right here on Thursday talking about coaches.
Yes. Hopefully we get some names to talk about next week. They usually are. They usually kind of a list comes out, so we'll talk about that and anything else that comes out. God help us if it's a head coach. We might not be on here.
If it's a head coach, I might take a break.
Yeah,
I might need some time.
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to be. But yeah, we'll see you next week when we get some news to talk about, and we'll be back this off season to talk about any news, any big news, any free agency, and all that as we come. So thanks for joining us this year. It was fun sometimes. It was not fun sometimes, but we appreciate it.
It was fun when I wasn't here, apparently.
Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, we appreciate everybody joining us every week and or listening afterwards. This is another the last WFNY BrownsCast post-game show of the season, part of the Evergreen Podcast Network. And thanks for joining us, everybody.